Clerk of the Legislature, please roll call.
Jonathan Anna. Present. Benjamin Vitale. Tom Winslow. Present. Robert Shea. Present. Eileen McNabb Coleman.
Present.
Hans Petcher.
Present.
Mark Strong.
Here.
Heidi Nightingale. Present. Elaine Dolly. Present. Amy Sargent.
Here.
Brian Muldrow.
Present.
May you all rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Please connect your brother.
Thank you, big seat.
Morning, we have a public hearing. Call 315-294-8051 you should speak on the public hearing, the local law imposing a tax on black Betsy. Entitled the court of criminal record procedure, chapter 533, laws 1994 of the state of New York. I have a list of names that are here for the public hearing. Those, I'm gonna read off the names, and I'm going to speak. Just come up to the podium. Elaine Myers. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yep, right to the podium.
Thank you. I'm here to encourage you to create a law, a policy where we do not cooperate with ICE. I'm basing this on a conversation I recently had at the Southern Cayuga School, where we had 4 deputies from our Cayuga County Sheriff's Department there. They were coaches, they were fathers, they were neighbors, and they talked about their career as police officers to students during the day. What I saw was gentlemen who said, I've been in the office for 19 and a half years. I've never fired my service revolver once. I've only used TASE 4 times. You saw the trust building with the children, with the students, the police officers. At the end of one conversation, a little girl raised her hand and said, would you ever arrest me? I didn't do anything wrong. The police officer stood up and said, I am here to protect you. I am here to support the laws that we all live under and depend on. We need our police officers to keep that trust solid with our citizens because they're doing it now, and I don't want anything to break the bond between that little girl and the police officer. Thank you.
We're having a public hearing. If you're here to speak on the public hearing, we will have our open privilege of the floor here in a few minutes. But if you are here to speak on the public hearing regarding to a local law imposing a tax on the occupancy of hotels and short-term rentals pursuant to chapter 533 of the laws of 1994 of the state of New York, is there anyone here to speak on the local law for the public hearing? Yes, please come up to the podium. Good morning. Just state your name, please. Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Erin Tasker. I am the managing director of the Rev Theater Company and the chair of the board of directors for Tour Cayuga. First of all, I want to thank legislators for your support for maintaining Tour Cayuga's budget in the August meeting and having that foresight to ensure that that budget is maintained. I also want to urge your support in passing the local law to ensure that all short-term rentals taxes are being collected, that bed tax, to ensure that that money is coming to Cayuga County. I also want to thank this body, though many of you were not here back in 1994, to pass the local law creating Tour Cayuga. And over 30 years ago, legislators recognized that tourism wasn't a luxury, but an economic driver and source of community pride. I'd also like to take a moment to address the questions and concerns voiced by some legislators at the August meeting regarding the data that shows a 9-to-1 return on every dollar spent on tourism. Now, Cayuga uses research-based platforms such as Zardico, which captures visitor spending and visitor movement through geolocation or your phone, where you are spending through credit cards, and Google Analytics. And Zardico defines a visitor as anyone that's traveled more than 50 miles to our destination. Now, we're looking forward in this coming year to having our executive director sharing the local data. Zardico can break that down into regions of the county, sharing that local data with municipalities, showing them what is driving tourists to come to their location to help them figure out what is attracting those visitors. We also use Rogue, which provides destination insights for short-term rental data. So we're very much looking forward to ensuring that we are capturing all of that short-term rental income with this local law. I'd also like to mention that we use research provided and supported by I Love New York, the New York State Department of Tourism, and the New York State Tourism Industry Association, which I'll read from Tourism Economics, how they use that data to make these statements that we are having a 9-to-1 return on every dollar spent on tourism. Tourism economics utilizes a spending-based approach. We estimate state and county level direct visitor spending and then capture all benefits that result. We incorporate a variety of data sources, including government, survey, and industry performance data to generate that estimate. The data sets complement and cross-check each other to ensure we approach the estimates from different angles. Spending estimates are built up using commercial lodging data, visitor profile data, and visitor surveys, and government economic data. For example, BLS, BEA, Census Bureau. From the top down, we examine shares by spending category and county and check levels and changes over time to ensure that counties across the state add up to the sum. The sum of the components must equal the local total.
1 more minute.
Thank you. This bottom-up and top-down approach provides additional checks and allows us to estimate direct visitor spending in New York in terms of sizes and trends. Our estimates are checked against government published data on jobs and income by industry at the state and county level. Again, Tourism Economic defines a visitor as someone who has stayed overnight or traveled more than 50 miles to the destination. So this data is coming from lots of different places, and what's happening here in Cayuga County is not an anomaly. Other counties across the state are seeing the benefits of tourism in their areas as well. Some are showing a 15-to-1 return on dollars spent on tourism. So I urge this body to support any measures that ensure we are capturing the data from visitors coming to this area, including all short-term rentals, and that we are adjusting our local law wording to make sure that we can capture all of that as best as possible. Thank you.
Anyone else for the public hearing? This time we move on. So I'd like to welcome all of our students who are sitting up here with us this morning, but also all the students who are here with us today. Welcome, student government today. At this time, we have some proclamations. You know, what. Good morning. I'm going to ask our veteran service coordinator to join me. It's kind of show up in the building. Step down. I have 2 proclamations this morning. One is for Operation Greenlight for Veterans, and the other is for Operation Designated Community as a Purple Heart Community. When Kevin comes back, I'd like to get out the Purple Heart Community. Let me start with Operation Greenlight. Whereas the residents of Cayuga County have great respect, admiration, and almost gratitude for all men and women who have selflessly served our country and unity in the armed forces. Whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who serve in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and the way of life by our citizens. And Cayuga County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom while placing themselves in harm's way. Veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran services officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. Whereas military service members transitioning to military service are at high risk for suicide during the first year of the military, and National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Dynamite for veterans. Cayuga County appreciates the sacrifice for our veterans and for our United States military personnel, and believes specific recognition should be granted. Therefore, be resolved that with designation as a green light for Veterans County, Cayuga County hereby declares November 4th through 11, 2025 as a time of salute and honor the service and sacrifice of those transitioning from the service, and be it further that Operation Greenlight, Cayuga County will light up the county office building in green for the month of November.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Anna. The County Association has been doing this for several years now, and we've picked up on it. And we've actually been getting green lights. So everyone who is here on the back table on your way out, if you want to pick up a small green light to put, if you have a driveway light, a porch light, or a window light, put it out, especially during November to show support for veterans. I've seen more and more popping up around the county. And I think it's a great way to acknowledge our veterans in the community and show that they have supporters in the area. Thank you.
So over the summer, one of my constituents reached out to me and asked me, is Cayuga County a Purple Heart community? And I said, I think we are. And I Googled it on the internet, and come to find out, the internet said, I think we are. And so I reached back out to him. I said, well, I think we are. And he says to me, no, you're not. So I reached out to Kevin Schwab. And I said, Kevin, are we a Purple Heart community? And he says, no, we're actually not. And Route 20, I believe, is a Purple Heart highway, which is where the confusion came from on my end. So out of, and I say this to the students that are here today on our board, watching our meeting, is that government works for our constituents, for our citizens. And all of you live in Cayuga County. All of you have a representative. You're sitting with someone today. And what happened in this case is that a citizen that lives in the town of Victory called me on the phone and said, hey, Jonathan, I think we should make Cayuga County a Purple Heart community. And I said, I think that's a great idea. So I reached out to Kevin Schwab to see what the process would be. And today I'm proud to have a proclamation designating Cayuga County a Purple Heart community. I'd like to invite the members of veterans who are here today that Kevin invited, Purple Heart recipients, to come join me at the podium, if they would.
All right, Purple Heart recipients, please come forward.
Very humbled and honored to be standing here with these veterans. Whereas the citizens of Cayuga County have great admiration and the utmost gratitude for all men and women who have selflessly served their country and this community as members of the United States military. And whereas veterans have paid the high price of freedom by leaving their families and communities and placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. The contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and the way of life enjoyed by citizens in our democracy. The Purple Heart is the oldest military decoration in present use, as it was initially created as a badge of military merit by General George Washington in 1782. The Purple Heart was first American Service Award or decoration made available to the common soldier, and is specifically awarded to members of the United States Armed Forces who have been wounded or paid the ultimate sacrifice in combat with a declared enemy of the United States of America. The mission of the Military Order of the Purple Heart is to foster an environment of goodwill among combat wounded veteran members and their families, promote patriotism, support legislative initiatives, and most importantly, assure that we never forgive. Cayuga County appreciates the sacrifice Purple Heart recipients have made in defending our freedoms. and believe it is important that we acknowledge them for their courage and show them the honor and support they have earned. Now therefore be resolved that the Cayuga County Legislature hereby proclaims Cayuga County as a Purple Heart County, honoring the service and sacrifice of our nation's men and women in uniform, wounded or killed by the enemy while serving to protect the freedoms enjoyed by all Americans. And be it further resolved that on August 7th has officially and perpetually designated as Purple Heart Day in Cayuga County to remember and recognize veterans who are recipients of the Purple Heart Medal. And may it be resolved that a copy of this proclamation shall be forwarded to the Military Order of the Purple Heart and the Purple Heart National Hall of Honor. And be it further that I, Jonathan Anna, on behalf of the Cayuga County Legislature and fellow legislators, do by proclaim our gratitude and urge the residents of our county to join with us in recognizing the designation of Cayuga County as a Purple Heart community and secure August 7th as perpetual day of Purple Heart recognition in Cayuga County. All of you, we owe you all better gratitude, and we're thankful for you to be here today.
Jonathan, you want to get on the
Oh, yeah, please. All right, well, Jonathan gives out some coins. I want to recognize Richard Wilder, Glenn English, Lloyd Rathbun, Keith Weeks, and Richard Evans, who are standing here in front of you. 4 are from Vietnam and 1 from Iraqi freedom. And there's more in the county. Some weren't available today. 1 was going to come, but he wasn't feeling well. Right now, I have identified at least 28 living Purple Heart recipients in the county. Many of them are snowbirds, so they're in warmer climate right now. Good for them, right? And so we're going to perpetually honor our Purple Heart recipients. So this is the first step in becoming a Purple Heart community, the proclamation. We're going to turn this into the Military Order of Purple Heart, and then we're going to get some road signs from them. And they're going to go on our roads coming into the county. And in the spring, when it's warmer, we're going to do another event for our Purple Heart recipients. So thank you very much for attending today representing Purple Heart. It's on the agenda. Thank you very much.
There's one more proclamation, for the Stephen Welder Veteran Service Award designee that will be presented on Veterans Day. Amanda's telling me that they normally go around and do something.
Yeah.
All right, so, I apologize, it's in a second. So we're gonna go around the room and I'll start with District 1 and then we'll go around the room. All of District 1. Joining me today to my right is my son Ethan. He is a senior at Red Creek High School. And he's in a government class and he's supposed to attend a board meeting as part of his class. So he's over here taking notes because that's the resident format. So hopefully it's not too awful. With that said, this is Oregon Mansfield. She's from Cato Meridian High School. And technically she lives in Cato to East of but we both share Meridian. And Mr. right there. Oh,
yes, sorry. So I have Riley Jenkins with Union Springs High School, and he's gonna go ahead and introduce yourself, tell him your plans.
My name's Riley. I'm gonna go on to college. I don't know where currently, but I'm gonna go in for adolescent education and history. I do play golf. I started last year, and I'm gonna play on the team again this year.
I have with me Lacey Serrano, and Lacey is a lot smarter than I am. She's thinking about going to physics. But if anything else you'd like to say about what you want to do in the future?
I'm very interested in, besides physics, going to planetary sciences and pursuing a career in like planetary research, Mars research, that sort of thing.
Thank you. With me today, excuse me, with me today, I have Mr. Thomas Anderson from Leesport High School.
I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Anderson.
Hi, Thomas. I plan to go to college with Henderson School. And I plan to major in either, finance or accounting.
Good morning, Bob. To my right is Newt Thornton. She's a student at Union Springs. She lives in southern Cayuga. She is a senior. Oh, I'm sorry. Correct that, just for you. So she plans on going to college and I'll let you speak to that.
I'm going to go to college for marine sciences and biology.
I'm Amy Coleman, legislator District 5, Skylar Branscombe, who's 6 minutes, I don't have anybody from me, but I'm kind of sharing that lady to my left.
Well, this young lady to my right is Michaela Khan. And she's from Union Springs, and please introduce yourself.
I'm a senior in high school, and I'm going to go to college, to work school, and study biochemistry.
The gentleman I have sitting to my right, named Dave Hutchins.
Understand, I believe this was senior. I now attending college.
I do not know all. I represent District 8 and representing District 8 with me today is John Smith, who is a senior at Auburn High School.
To sport, college. It should be a six.
He's also a award recipient with my brother's.
My name's Elaine Daly. I represent District 9 in the city of Auburn. When I came in, I asked, this is Matt Smith. I had him last year and asked him if he somehow got the short straw again, because he and I are teamed up. Matthew is told me that he's going to be going to Hobart next year. He's unsure what his major will be. I was supposed to impress him with the football statistics, but I wasn't able to do that. But as you can see, he was one of the football players that had a clavicle injury at one of the Auburn High games. But when he goes to Hobart, his plan is to be healthy and play lacrosse. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, what you said, I'm Matthew Smith, quarterback. I was quarterback for the Auburn Maroons. I play lacrosse and plan to go to Hobart.
I'm Amy Sargent. I represent District 10 in Auburn, and for things Mr. Cayuga from Fort Byron.
Hi, I'm William. I plan to go to a 4-year SUNY for mathematics and then do a postgrad in law. I'm not sure where I'm going, and I'm probably going for a while.
Brian Muldrow, District 10, City of Auburn. Still the best athlete.
Oh, yeah, James, yes.
They just Matt Smith Senior will contest that back there. I'm with Anthony Mancuso.
I'm Anthony. I'm a senior at Auburn High School, play football and baseball. And I plan to go to college to study engineering and also play football.
Good morning, my name is Fred Westfall, I'm with the County Attorney's Office. I'm here with Ryan Sinkel, who's from Union Springs. He has agreed to take any questions that this body may have.
I'm Ryan Sinkville. I go to Union Springs. I play football, basketball, and track. And I work at Peachtree, so the other one basically just almost leaving.
Matthew. You didn't tell you to do golf.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, she's playing golf.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Okay.
We have any privilege of the floor this evening from legislators. Mr. Patrick.
Mr. Chairman, I have two people. First one is Rebecca. Robert.
Hi, my name name's Rebecca Ruggles. I live in Ledyard. I thank my legislator, Mr. Fetcher, for the privilege of the floor. He spoke yesterday and I told him that I wanted to come and just urge the legislature to consider a resolution of non-cooperation. But I would specify that be a resolution of non-cooperation with any government agent who does not abide by the rule of law. I think that's a reasonable thing for us to expect here in Cayuga County. When I spoke with Mr. Petrie, he pointed out that the Cayuga County Legislature has no influence over the state government, the federal government. And of course, we're all quite concerned and upset about what happened in Cayuga, where people were not given the due process. They were not allowed to defend themselves in a court of law. The owner of the business was actually not allowed to defend himself. These are all things that simply shouldn't happen in our county. But whether we can influence the federal government or not, we should speak out about it. And I believe that today, many people are concerned, confused, and bewildered and upset about what's happening in our country on many levels. And that is not a partisan issue. That is not about party affiliation. That's about wanting to be the country that we grew up being proud of and that we pledge allegiance to when we say that there's liberty and justice for all. Therefore, it would be reasonable for the county legislature to reaffirm these values in a resolution. And today, if you look at our voter registration statistics, 30% of people who register to vote in our county are not affiliated with any party. I think that probably speaks to some disillusionment that people feel with party politics. So this does not need to be a partisan issue to say that we uphold the rule of law in Cayuga County, that we expect everyone to be accorded due process. That means being able to defend yourself if you're accused of a crime.
One more minute.
Thank you. And I think this would be a very opportune moment for the Cayuga County Legislature, a local government body, to remind the people who live here that there are parts of our government that are functioning well and providing public service. You all come here every month in, month out, you have meetings in between. We don't see everything that you do, but you work for us and you protect us and you maintain our quality of life. You fight for, you address the budget, which the federal government doesn't seem to be willing to do. So we need to speak up as a county legislature. I would like to ask you to speak up and affirm the due process of law and adhering to the rule of law. These are our county values, even if we can't influence the federal government. Thank you very much.
Patrick, like to call Mr. Berner, what's everything? Hello. I'd like to thank the legislators for allowing me today to speak, voice my opinion. Bear with me, please. I'm not used to public speaking. I also want to mention that it's really nice to see the young people here engaged in their community. I live in the town of Genoa, and I'm here to voice my opposition to the Cayuga Lake Protection Project. This ill-conceived plan includes the forced inclusion of many homeowners with fully functioning and code-compliant septic systems. It seems the major reason for the project to begin with is to prop up the aging and mismanaged Aurora wastewater treatment plant by spending millions on repairs and upgrades to the plant at zero cost to the village of Aurora. All this is done under the pretense of protecting the lake, but no one has explained the benefit to the lake in a measurable form, just vague claims that it will protect the lake's water. To improve the chance of getting a grant and selling this to property owners, an extreme attempt to lower the cost per EDU, at least on paper, has been undertaken. The plan includes far overreaching inclusion, many properties that have no need for a sewer connection. Such properties may already have approved septic systems, are unbuildable due to their small size, or have an improbable cliff location for a sewer line connection.
Despite asking multiple parties involved in the project, no one has answered the obvious question of how to connect these high cliff properties to the system. New York state law states that every property owner within Sewer District 3 must benefit. For many property owners, the plan is exact opposite. It's a burden. For example, I own 3 properties in the district. 2 of them are not buildable, so have no need for a sewer connection. The 3rd is my home, which is high on the cliff, and I have an expensive wastewater treatment system. The forced inclusion capital cost to me at 2 EDUs will cost me $233 a month for the next 20 years. That's $233 a month every single month for the next 20 years for a system that I am either unable to connect to and I have no intention of utilizing. Many property owners are in similar situations. Missteps in the filing and transparency of this resolution have been evident and are supported by the mere fact that we are here right now readopting the resolution, which did not follow procedure the first time around. In closing, I want to say that the water for my household comes directly from the lake. I drink the water every day, year-round. I care deeply about the lake and its water quality. I do support a well-thought-out comprehensive plan for sewer and water lines serving lake-adjacent properties. However, this deeply flawed. Thank you.
We have one Charles Green.
I thank the legislature for the opportunity to talk about this. I'm talking about immigration. I recommend local laws or resolutions be enacted regarding the following. While on duty, unelected county employees shall not use county monies, equipment, or personnel for the purpose of detecting or apprehending persons whose only violation of law is that they are in the U.S. in violation of federal immigration law. They shall not contact ICE or Customs and Border Patrol, which the acronym is CBP, for assistance because of a suspect's or arrestee's race, ethnicity, national origin, or immigration status. They shall not prolong any stop in order to investigate immigration status. Shall not provide ICE or CBP agents any facility or equipment for a generalized search about inmates, nor permit an ICE or CBP agent to conduct an individualized interview of an inmate without giving the inmate an opportunity to have counsel present. Defense counsel shall provide accurate and affirmative advice about the immigration consequences, and when consistent with the goals of the defendant, shall defend against those consequences. Prior to any interview, an individual in county custody shall be provided with a written consent form in a language understood by the individual that explains the purpose of the interview, that the interview is voluntary, that he or she may decline to be interviewed, or to be interviewed only with their attorney present. The non-elected county employee while on duty shall not ask a detainee about his or her immigration status unless civil immigration status is necessary to the ongoing investigation of a criminal offense. Personal characteristics are not a reason to ask about civil immigration status. They shall not stop or detain an individual solely for the purpose of establishing his or her identity. In addition, an immigration detainer request shall not inhibit an inmate's ability to post bond. If local charges are disposed of, the inmate will not be returned to county jail. And finally, warrants for the arrest of an individual based on their immigration status shall not be executed within any county courtroom unless ordered by the presiding judicial officer. Thank you.
Any other legislators from the village of the floor? Andrew Simpkin?
Good morning. My name is Andrew Simpkin. I live in Poplar Ridge in the town of Venice. We have a comment regarding immigration enforcement following the recent ICE raid in Cayuga. I am not a proponent of open borders. I have experience adjudicating visa applications at U.S. embassies and consulates overseas during a 25-year career with the U.S. Department of State. One of my assignments in Washington was as director of the Office of Fraud Prevention Programs, where we coordinated efforts to stop people from obtaining visas and passports illegally. I believe that it is entirely legitimate for the U.S. government to decide, based on U.S. law, whether to allow a person to enter our country or not. However, once a person has put down roots and made a life here, there needs to be some exercise of prosecutorial judgment. If we as a nation were going to deport these immigrants, we should have done it as soon as possible, not waiting years and in some cases decades while they worked long hours, helped to grow our economy, started families, and settled down here. As an attorney, this situation brings to my mind the legal principle of estoppel bilatis, sometimes referred to as sleeping on one's rights. It is defined in Black's Law Dictionary as a failure to do something which should be done or to claim or enforce a right at a proper time. It comes into play when, as a result of delay in enforcement, the other party's position has become so changed that he cannot be restored to his former state. This is a principle of fairness, and it may not prevail in an immigration court, but the principle should have a role in shaping law enforcement priorities. What happened last month in Cayuga was a shock. Since then, as a Spanish-speaking volunteer notary, I have met with men whose wives were abruptly taken away from that factory. The husbands and young children are struggling to cope and make new plans. These men and their families are hardworking contributors filling important roles in our community. The children are Americans, attending local schools and preparing for what, until recently, promised to be a bright future here. Some of them will be leaving us. A lot of damage has been done, not only to these families, but to our county. I believe that our local law enforcement agencies should assist federal authorities in pursuing criminals, immigrants and citizens alike. But when federal authorities turn out to be targeting law-abiding, hardworking, longtime members of our community, solely based on having entered the country without permission long ago, we should not cooperate. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Peter Thomas?
Good morning. My name is Peter Thomas. I am the DMV supervisor and the CSEA unit president for Cleveland County employees. Before I get to why I'm here, I want to thank all the students showing up to participate in Student Government Day. This is a very important day. I hope that your participation doesn't end when you leave here today. Elections happen every year. I'm going to ask that you please stay abreast to the issues and the candidates that are running and get involved. Not just vote, help candidates that you support work on their campaigns. And if you have candidates that you don't believe in, step up, find the courage, and run for office yourself. Now, why I'm here. Before you today, legislators, you have resolution WM2 to renew Bonchak and King's contract with the county for 3 years. I would like to point out to you that nowhere in this resolution does it state that this complies with the county's purchasing policy. No bids have been put out to find cheaper resolutions for these services. And if a waiver was signed, I would assume that this resolution would state in it that it complies with the county's purchasing policies. When you're asking departments and employees to take the brunt of cuts and short staff and working extra hours, I would ask that you look at all aspects of the budget to find cuts and reductions to help with the budget. Thank you.
I have a list of names assigned in for the public hearing. I'm not sure if you all would like to speak. I'm just gonna read them down the list. I call your name, if you'd like to speak, please approach the podium. If no one moves, I'm going to the next name. Alice Dalton Brown. Janine Ashedan. Carl Reinflesh. Somebody's I can't pronounce, I'm sorry. Joan Quill. Sue Secor, maybe? Secor. Yep. Karen Phillip. Joan Phillip. Kate LeBlanc.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kate LeBlanc. I live in District 9 in Auburn. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you, students, for being here. This is great to see. And thank you, veterans, if they're still here. I see them. Thank you, veterans, for your service. I would like to speak and echo some of my peers in asking the legislature to please develop a resolution of non-agreement, non-cooperation with non-cooperation with ICE following what happened in Cato in September. I also have seen the devastation it's caused in the families of our community, families that have been here, like someone just said, for decades, and whose students are citizens, whose children are citizens and go to school within our districts. I want to point out again that no due process was exercised in this event, and they were separated by skin color. That is not something that I personally want my county to be known for. And I think that our legacy depends on now. What we decide to do now will impact what we're known for in the future. And I urge you to please be on the right side of history and sign a resolution of not cooperation with ICE, just like Tompkins County and Onondaga County, our neighbors, have done. So it's not unheard of, it's not undoable, it's very doable. We will continue to be here asking for this until something is done. And last month there were about 50 of us there. I will be present, I will be watching, I'm waiting for something to be done on this, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Will.
Saying Rob Lewis.
All right, sounds good. And Shelley Norton. All right, very well. Move on. Thank you.
I'm gonna bring the minutes to approve. Can I get a first and second?
This is for September 23, 25, October 8, 9, 15, 22 meeting minutes. Second, all in favor?
All in favor? Almost close.
Is there anybody speak up a little more?
All right, we have a list of appointments. We have communications and announcements. We have letters from Mr. Dalton to Ben Shopkins, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor, Mr. Goodson, Mr. and Mrs. Bochman, and three adults regarding the establishment of county sewer district number 3. And we also have a catch letter from Mr. Root regarding the cooperative extension. Can I get a first and a second to waive the readings?
Move it, Mark.
I have a second to waive the readings. Okay, that's second. All in favor of reading the all in favor of waiving the readings?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I did see Dr. Grant in the building.
Good morning, everyone. Good to be with you. Hopefully you can hear me. Back, wanted to take a moment and recognize the student leaders with us today. I've had the great fortune having many children myself to be able to see some of these students, really grow up over the years and see their leadership on the field and in the community is amazing. And those of you that are seniors, I wish you the absolute best as you go and continue to grow and thrive in your own lives. At the college, we're in the middle of our fall semester. I wasn't able to be here in September. We're in the middle of our fall semester. I'm pleased to report that enrollment is slightly up from last year. This is our third year in a row that we're seeing some positive momentum with our enrollment. Certainly our goal is stability, and certainly when it comes to the demographics and the projected demographics across higher education in the country, certainly locally, we really are focused on trying to have level enrollment and improving our success rates and our retention rates of our students. And that's really has been a major emphasis of our current strategic plan led by our trustees and will continue to be what we're focused on. Over the last couple of months, we've been able to have a number of celebrations at the institution, really with our partners at the SUNY level and certainly with our connections at the state legislative level and local legislative level. Over the last couple of years, we've seen great progress when it comes to higher education, SUNY, community colleges to be a focus point of economic development and a focus point and opportunity from the governor and certainly our state legislators when it comes to new support for finances. Last year, we celebrated the launch of an ASAP program, which is a program that's really focused on intrusive advisement support for students, trying to keep them on pace to be able to graduate from Cayuga in 2 years and on time. We had a celebration of thanks, a recognition for continued financial support for that program and that event earlier this month on our Fulton campus, where we were able to host representatives from SUNY and hear from a couple of students on how transformative the impact of this program has been when it comes to having advisor support, some extra financial support, and been life-changing for them. The other program that's been really a top priority for college over the summer and certainly for the start of the year, we think it has attributed positively to our enrollment is the SUNY Reconnect program, free community college for adult learners between the ages of 25 and 55 that are have yet to earn a college degree of any sort, but are also focused in studying something in a high-need career field that aligns with regional human resource needs. And so this past month on our Auburn campus, we were able to have a celebration thanking elected officials for their support, recognizing SUNY for this investment. And also for us, the college, we were able to see over 150 individuals be able to participate and take advantage of this program, which is, again, providing free tuition and fees for adults. What's powerful about the program is not only is it a way to try to encourage individuals of different ages to be able to take advantage of higher education and begin a conversation with us on how it may fit into their lives. But what's also been powerful is hearing some of the student stories when it comes to what they think they may want to pursue at college, but when they talk with advisors and they think about what the possibilities may be and they hear about the high-paying jobs in manufacturing and healthcare and other industries here and there's such demand, it really can open up their mind. It's a reminder, whether for young people or any of us, having exposure to what careers really mean and what opportunities really are, it is critical for us to continue to demonstrate to each other what we actually mean behind working at company X or industry Y, because really it's just words unless you can really meet the people see behind the curtain and really understand the quality of employment opportunities that exist and how critical it is for us to be able to create that pipeline and support those needs, to be able to make sure that the economic development continues to prosper here in Cayuga County and certainly in our region. So we're proud of those programs. We appreciate the support from the state legislature and SUNY, and we'll continue to move forward with an additional one that certainly is going to be talked about, the college strategic priority list, which is something that we're looking, that's being called academic momentum. And academic momentum is exactly the type of program and service that Cayuga is focused on with our strategic plan, which is, as I mentioned earlier, we have a commitment and to continue to increase and improve our graduation and retention rates, right? The size of an institution never really defines its greatness. It's the quality of our product, and certainly for us, part of that is our readiness for work and our students as they're being able to be prepared and that they're reaching their goals. We have seen an increase in our retention rates in recent years. We have seen an increase in our graduation rates in recent years, particularly in the post-pandemic. But we want to continue to build the infrastructure and the intentionality behind our student supports to ensure that as we create more opportunities for students from diverse backgrounds to enroll at the college, that our success rates continue to rise to the same level. There'll be more on that for the legislature in coming months as we talk about some of the SUNY plans related to momentum, and I look forward to sharing that. On lighter notes, I'm proud to say that tonight we'll be hosting at Falcon Park a playoff game for our men's soccer team. They're 10-2 and ranked number 3 in the country, so anyone available wants to see our soccer program at Gibbs Herkimer at 6 o'clock in Falcon Park, they'll be playing. And really for us at the institution, we're continuing to be focused. We have open houses coming up. Those of you still considering opportunities, hopefully you'll give us some consideration. We have many alums in the room today. Many people have taken courses. Many of you are taking courses with us right now, I already know. And so, Cayuga, we're continuing to look at what we're offering for academic programs. We're looking at our partnerships and transfer for 4-year schools. And certainly we're very proud of what we're doing and really looking at how we're supporting our students. So with that, I'll take any questions. Thank you all.
We're gonna move forward now with legislative reports.
Yes, I'd like to take the opportunity tonight, or today as the Ways and Means Chair, to sort of give you some information about the projection of how the 2025 budget performed. Lynn's assessment of that has been complete based on the information that's been given to her by the various departments of how their budget is performing. It does appear that we will outperform the budget, the 2025 budget, using 2 million of the fund balance out of the 5.6 that we included to be used. Of note is that we are about 2 million under in salary and fringe benefits across the county. This is offset, unfortunately, by the fact that we took 1.2 million from the fund balance to move the 911 equipment at the backup center. And we also took 250,000 to pay for the assigned council costs that ended up above what was in the budget. So as 2025 ends, the fund balance is projected to be at 16.5 million, certainly better than the 14 million that we ended up starting the year in. But any fund balance we use in 2026 will be taken from that amount, leaving us again below the policy that we set. We've been told that based on current budget requests, we will have a $9.5 million gap if we stay at the tax cap and use no fund balance. Using no fund balance in 2026, in fact, was the recommendation made by our outside auditors to ensure the financial health of the county. How realistic is it to cut 9.5 million out of the budget? In my opinion, not realistic at all. If we use 3 million of fund balance, which is the number that I've been hearing, and don't exceed the tax cap, we will need to cut 6 million out of the budget. I don't know how realistic that actually is either in 1 year. So I don't envy Jonathan, releasing this tentative budget this year. I ask you to carefully consider and support the resolution to exceed the tax cap. It is not ideal, I've heard you all say, but I wonder what choice do we have? We need to position the county, in my opinion, to maintain a healthy fund balance. If not, what are the consequences when we go out to bond for our county office building?
Anyone else?
I don't.
Good. All right.
I just wanted to say, in light of, the federal government shutdown, I wanted to share with this board and the chair, if it's possible that we could enter into our county, on our county website, on our landing page, a list of all food banks, food pantries, additional resources, public and private resources. There are things online today that just came online. People are donating money, they're setting up programs. I'm hoping that Cayuga County website will become the trusted clearinghouse for all that information. So I'm the chair of the legislature. That part. Thank you.
Is it your understanding that the actual program dollars are now at risk? Not the administrative, but there may be no.
I'm not commenting on that. I just think this is a service we need to provide our.
I don't know to that with SNAP. We don't know. November 1st is when it's unclear whether the program dollars will be.
Anyone else? And Lee, I'll get you a little bit more information. I'm not familiar with what you described. It's not. I'm not really familiar. Yep.
Thank you. On maybe a more positive note. Maybe a more positive note and future oriented, the state senate and the New York Assembly have both been working on proposing bills which would streamline the way 730 competency evaluations are completed, which would mean that they would go back to the original intent of 90 days of evaluation, education, and training toward the court system. We have been over the years sometimes spending millions of dollars on these mandated but not funded competency evaluations. So I think, we should be checking in with our senators and assembly people to make sure they can move this forward as soon as possible. Be a huge savings in our health and human services budget and our fund balance, which tends to cover these surprise costs.
Anyone else? NISAC has been very hard at work for the last couple of years addressing those 730s. And this is a lot of their effort, and actually from here from the counties and concerns we discussed and found out in the last few months this was made progress. I want to again welcome all the students for being here on Student Government Day. We're really happy to have you here. This is actually a treat for us because usually we meet at night, meetings go over at 9 or 10 o'clock. And I get home by like 11 o'clock at night, so this is great to be here and have you all for lunch. Just to echo, our budget director, I found out at the end of last week really about the cost savings that legislative they already alluded to. This was in part to the efforts we've taken place slowing down the process, reevaluating jobs, with some internal efficiencies. With cars this year, there's been a lot of small steps that have taken up to add up to a big dollar amount. So I'm happy to hear we made some progress this year. I wanted to explain the resolution process to the students because the next part of the meeting is where we're going to start passing resolutions. And resolutions are basically like road bills that appropriate funds. County government is the administrator of state program. You heard talking about SNAP. We talk about social services, we also have the jail, with sheriff's department probation. We administer all the services and the resolutions we pass today and the resolutions we pass each month. Basically administer those funds and appropriate those funds to its uses. So that's what the county government does. So with that, let's just get how you started. And I'm gonna have Morgan help me. So I'm gonna start off by going to Elaine Gale, please, meetings, yep.
I, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to enter an executive session for matters related to a particular person.
We're gonna give it a second, we got a motion to start an executive session, the first and second. First, second, all in favor? Any opposed? Yeah, one opposition, we're gonna recess the executive session. No, just legislative.
That's the microphone. There.
Can I get a motion and a second to return to session? All in favor? Any opposed? With that, we're gonna move on to Ways and Means. I'm gonna pass you one.
Yes, Ways and Means, resolutions, there were 4 resolutions presented at the Ways and Means Committee last week. I would like to, separate out now WM2 and WM3. Ways and Means 1 and Ways and Means 4, I'm going to group together. Ways and Means 1 is authorizing the settlement of a matter of 2023 West Genesee Street. And this was an Article 7 challenge on the assessment. And they've all agreed upon the changes, making them eligible for some of the exemptions that they had requested. Ways and Means 4 is a resolution for real property, adopting the equalization rates for apportionment of the 2026 county taxes. So I'm wondering if I could get a first and a second for WM1 and WM4.
I would like to move it.
Second.
Any questions about those 2 resolutions? If not, all in favor? Oh, yeah. No, WM4 is adopting the equalization rates. Yep. All in favor of 1 and 4?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's go to WM3 for now. WM3, I would like, this is an authorization to fill an accounting position in our finance department. I would like, now you'll have to give me some advice here, Fred. I'd like to offer a friendly amendment to this resolution. The 8th whereas talks about, I think in the 8th whereas there's a control number that was transposed. So it's just to change the control number. And the 3rd resolve references the Department of Social Services in error. So the intent of the resolution still is to fill an accounting position in the finance department with, in particular, the reference to the Department of Social Services being omitted. So do I need a motion?
We either do it by friendly amendment if all the legislators agree, or if we might be some discussion on that, on the change.
Okay.
How, maybe.
Is anyone opposed? Okay.
I'll second the friendly.
Okay, all right, then can we get a motion to, for WM3 to fill the accounting position in our finance department? Any questions or concerns?
Do you like me to do?
Sure.
New resolved is the creation of one health position in budget neutral, the transfer of funding from the current funded junior account position PC 8012 into fund social service budget.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
2 opposed, okay. WM2 is to renew our contract with Bond Shenick and King for legal services for HR civil service, and labor negotiations for Cayuga County and the community college. I'd like to get a motion and a second for that.
I'll move it.
Okay, there was some information brought up today about the possibility of interest of putting this out for RFP. I did speak with the county attorney when this came forward, and it appears that legal services, we have the option of whether we go out to RFP on those legal services, a little different than the requirement to go to RFP for professional services over $75,000. This did just come, if there is any concern that this should go out to RFP and not passing it in this format, we certainly could amend this resolution to authorize it for a 1-year contract pending an RFP in the second year. Is anyone interested in making that amendment or just passing this resolution to employ Von Schoenecken, to contract with Von Schoenecken King for the next 2 years at the terms that were described?
I'm interested in pursuing RFP.
Okay. So because the contract ends in January, we could extend it for the first year. We could extend it for 6 months. But we do need these services in place January 1st.
So a motion on that.
Do we have a question? Or we'll finish out now.
Sure.
How long do you think that would take? Fred, looking at Fred.
I would consider amending it for 1 year, just because I serve this body and whoever's college is involved in this as well. They may go out for an RFP, both entities may want to vet whoever the responders are, so I would suggest amending it for a year. And then requesting them to go out for an RFP and this is.
And then do you know about how long we've employed Von Schoenecken as our labor council?
Accurately, no, but they were still employed in 2018 when I was last here, so they had been employed for a little bit of time before that. The exact date I don't recall.
I don't know, since the time I've been here. That's.
Yes, at least. I think BOCES was the labor relations support that we had.
That's been that question.
Yes.
That's going back further.
Yes. Okay, am I hearing a motion to amend this resolution to allow the contract to go for the year of 2026 pending the RFP?
I'll second.
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made, we have a second. Discussion. On the motion. Amen. For 1 year.
Yep.
For 1 year.
Extension pending an RFP. Yep.
I think that the amendment with the 1 year extension is in line with what we have been talking about in streamlining our RFP process.
Okay, so now it gets into the resolution as amended.
No. Back to the amendment first. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
One opposition. Now we go with this.
I make the motion as amended.
Yes.
I'll second the motion as amended.
Okay.
All in favor, any discussion on the resolution? All in favor of the resolutions?
Aye.
Any opposition?
Thank you.
Real quick before we go to Heidi, I'll let Morgan do it. She's gonna read the public hearing notice.
A local law imposes a tax on the occupancy of hotel rooms or short-term rentals pursuant to chapter 533 of the laws of 1994 of the state of New York.
If you'd like to speak by phone, call 315-294-8051. If you wish to speak, is there anyone in the room that wishes to speak to the public hearing?
Honorable Chair, Health and Human Services has 13 resolutions, all of which have passed with both HHS and
Well,
A's. all of which has passed through both HAS and Ways and Needs Committee.
Honorable Chair, I would like to bundle some of these 13 resolutions. I would like to bundle HH1, HH2, HH3, and HH4. All of these resolutions involve contract renewals or new contracts. HH1 is a new contract with Canine Cove Kennel. This will help us have a place to place animals, dogs, etc., who may need to be quarantined in the event that we're watching for rabies. So it's part of the rabies program. As is HH2, we were able to enter into a contract with DAC Solutions, Wildlife Solutions, and these folks would be able to actually do the euthanization, etc., should we find rabies in animals. HHC allows us to enter into a contract with Chapel House for the provision of supportive case management, something that is a program that has helped social services for many years. And like that, also HH4, entering into a contract with Chapel House to provide transitional living and alternative housing for our homeless clients.
You have a bundle of HH1, 2, 3, and 4, and the first and 7.
I'll move the bundle.
I'd like to second that.
Any discussion on the bundle? No discussion, all in favor of the bundle? Aye. Any opposed?
Honorable Chair, I'd like to also bundle HH5, HH6, HH7, and HH13. All of these are bills which are part of the exemption policy and have moved through the personnel committee process. I'd like to point out specifically that HH5 was part of conversations also in our budget negotiations in which we would abolish 2 positions, a clerk and a typist position, in order to fill a principal accountant.
I'd like to do it first and summer on those 5, 6, 7, and 15.
I'm here. Sorry.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to separate all 4 of those resolutions.
Very well. And separating first from last. We'll start with the first and second from
Can I get first and second from number 5?
Move it for discussion.
Discussion number 5.
I guess my opposition to this is the fact that when we have discussions about the current budget situation that we are in, having all the numbers to look at the consequences from budget as far as deleting a couple of different positions to establish another one. There is no, we have not been given, I have not been given those numbers, so at this point in time, I really don't want to.
Further discussion.
I guess I'm wondering if.
Are you guys look around? I'm sure no one wants to be.
I just wondered, are you saying that until the tentative budget is released and you're confident that these positions are in, that it's premature to do this in October, or you're just not ready to make the vote?
Any other discussion? All right, without any further discussion, we'll vote on HH5. All in favor of HH5? Those opposed?
Aye.
2, 3, Vitale and Coleman. Strong and Becher.
Can I go first and second on HH6?
We vote versus second for HH6.
I'll second.
We have first and second discussion on HH6.
I just want to emphasize that both of these positions are part of the exemption policy. They are human service examiners, which are on the list. That list includes things like our deputy road patrol. And these are due to vacancies.
Any others?
Yeah, I don't believe the human service examiner was on the exemption list as the caseworkers were. But these have been positions that have been left vacant for at least 4 or 5 months. They had 4 that were vacant, and they're asking to get rid of 2 in the tentative budget and fill these 2 left.
Board feel more comfortable tabling these selected some options as well. Instead, we, but depends on these for these times. Any other discussion?
I make a motion to table until, November 5th meeting.
Is that just motion to table on 6?
6 and 30.
So 6 was the only. 6 is the only one on the table right. 6. So 6. Any, we have a second for table on 6.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on table? All in favor of the table?
Aye.
Any opposed to the table?
Can I get the in favor of the table real quick? Hands up. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You as well. 8. It's table.
Number 7. Okay, first and second for the table.
Sure. Consideration of time, I've stated HH7, HH13, the same meeting, the November 5th meeting.
Mr. Strong, we have first and second for 7, 13. For table, need a second.
Second.
Second. Discussion on table.
HH13 is my recommendation to fill out your manager, which is 100% reimbursable by revenue district for billing. So it's in our budget for next year. It doesn't cost.
And 13 is a position where we'll be filling the budget. I think that's the. And also the so wasn't in the number 5 one as well. Can we exclude that? Who's that 13?
Yeah, that would be separate.
Yeah. But I just wanna, I want 13 to be one last time.
Any other comments on 7?
This is the motion.
All in favor of
Tabling it till when? Next month's
Oh,
meeting or November 5th,
November 5th.
because it's an important county position that needs to be filled.
I just want to reiterate that, one of the things that I said at both HHS and Ways and Means, these are meetings that not all of our legislators attend, is that one of these proposals, the one that is HH5, was made as a result of agreeing to the proposal with our treasurer for the sake of sustainability and succession planning. That this would get the same consideration.
Question, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would do legislative night point. We are all required to attend November 5th.
Oh, that's our budget presentation. I hope you all will be there.
We will open it.
Anybody else? We're voting on table number 7. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Page 13. Under books and 7.
I'll move 13.
Discussion on 13.
I have a point of clarity. As Lauren Walsh has just pointed out, that this is. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this the one she, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Is the mental health
because it's a reimbursable position.
Is there any reason we really can't wait until the 5th to talk about this then?
I would imagine there'll be people that will serve as so however many patients that is would receive the service.
I'm just wondering, to test your resignation. Where is it, Chance had this approved in order to fill that position, so where is she?
Can we ask on that question? Lauren? Lauren, you wanna,
To identify a candidate.
Can you wait until next week or not? I'm waiting. Okay.
There's a caseload that only have one parent, so we're kind of filling and trying to service all individuals that were served by our lab. So definitely one of it for a very long time. That's a lot.
Okay, so next week is the November 5th meeting.
you're waiting to find out if it's gonna be in question with the HH 13 is into the budget. You're looking to look to see what the budget looks like for new positions, and I can agree with table. The table, I see it, it's gonna be in it. It's a position. Do you want?
There's a motion to table.
Yes.
I am motion.
Wait a second to do this.
Second.
You see. All right, discussion on the table.
I think that anyone is this. Just looking. This is a budgeted position, usually maybe. It's just almost able to make a statement that where they make a statement what. It's ridiculous.
I think the likelihood of us not moving forward with it, it's not a cost. Just reason.
That is a list of other discussion, I know we're gonna approve.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the table? All opposed to the table?
So it was defeated.
Right, so can I get a motion first from the resolution? We don't know the resolution. Yes, discussion on the resolution of HH 13. All in favor of HH 13? Those opposed? So moved.
Honorable Chair, I'd like to bundle HH 9, HH 10, and HH 11. Each of these 3 resolutions involve accepting monies. HH 9 is accepting $158,000 plus in monies from the state opiate settlements, as is HH 10. Accepting $28,000 plus, which will be a pass-through in opiate monies to the city of Auburn. HH 11 is authorizing the chair to sign an agreement with mental health for funding for a court-based mental health navigator at $103,000 plus.
A second.
Second. Discussion on the bottom.
All in favor?
Aye.
Honorable Chair, HH 12 is an authorization for the director, the chair of the county and the youth bureau director to amend a contract agreement with Cayuga Counseling Services. This was monies approved through ARPA and the Youth Bureau Advisory Committee. We were approached by Cayuga Counseling Services with a different movement in terms of the goals and objectives of the monies served. The advisory board met and looked at the changing goals, the movement and goals, and the money allotted through that ARPA allotment, and agreed that indeed the amendment of the contract should move forward.
Move it. Second. Discussion. And this is all done.
Correct.
Now further discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
We have HH8 as well, which is another contract. This is authorizing the legislature and the director of community services to sign an agreement with Open Solutions for Historical Records. This sort of contract allows them to continue to utilize electronic record service for the purpose of going back into historical records, because we have changed our electronic medical records. This will give them the opportunity to move back in and get years worth of information to help them with cases that may reappear on the course of the plant roads.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Okay, we have our students, the first three resolutions, will be by Anthony to read these resolutions and GO1, authorizing the chair of legislator and the commissioners of the Cayuga County Board of Elections to sign contracts with New York State BOE to accept the 2025 general election grant and the 2025 vote by mail grant. You get a motion?
Second, Mark. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
GO2, approving the collective bargaining agreement between the Cayuga Community College Administrative and Professional Group and the Cayuga Community College for the period of September 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2030.
That appears to be a duplicate of Ways and Means 2, which was already voted. I'm sorry, I misread that, I apologize.
I'll move it. Second. Discussion on GO2. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
GO3, authorizing the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature to sign a utility release form with Siemens Industry, Inc., 170 North Point Parkway, STE 200, Amherst, New York, 14228, to access county usage data and allow them to work with utility companies directly and share county usage data.
Over to Jill Creek. Second, Mark. No discussion.
I do. I just want to say that this costs our county absolutely nothing, and it's possibly a saving, so we need to do this. I strongly support this resolution.
No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sir.
GO4, authorization to fill one full-time motor vehicle cashier due to retirement.
Table.
Second. Question on the motion, table.
I would plan to table this in addition to the other positions that I mentioned here this evening to the night of November 5th.
Consistent with all in favor of the table? All opposed?
Pass.
GO5, authorizing the chief information officer to transfer funds to cover internet service and dark fiber costs.
Move it.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
GO6, authorizing the transfer of funds within the Cayuga County Veteran Service Agency 2025 budget.
Move it.
Second, Mark.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There you are.
Thank you, Chairman. Planning has 4 resolutions and all of them are committee. PL 1, authorizing the legislature to create and the Director of Employment and Training to fill one workforce development program assistant position in the Department of Employment and Training.
I'd like to move the table this.
Second. You have a first table, do I have a second? Sorry, I'm sorry. About that. All right, discussion on this one.
This is certainly 100% funded through the employment training fund, so.
This isn't from outside, this isn't going on. So. Any other discussion? All in favor? Oh, you may.
So that position is 100% funded and reimbursed to the county at 0. Just it.
Oh, I can't hear from that.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor of the waiver? Opposed and taken.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's defeated.
I'll give a motion for one table. Move it. Discuss first and second. Discussion. Move for the discussion, all in favor of PL 1.
Aye.
Opposed. Aye.
PL 2, designating the Cayuga County Convention and Visitors Bureau as the Cayuga County Tourism Promotion Agency for New York State grant funding for the 2026 state program year and designating the program project director.
Motion second.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion. For discussion, all in favor of PL 2.
Aye.
Opposed. PL 3.
PL 3, authorization to accept grants and establish a capital H account for the replacement of the log cabin at Emerson Park.
The motion is second, any discussion? I don't think we've got a lot of discussion on this, as far as potential costs. And what the plan is there, so I wouldn't know about that. That's just me. It's the law cabin. We're going to see if I can sit there and find these.
Yeah.
On the phone, I'm doing,
I thought the purpose was to accept money from the Friends of Emerson Foundation, only take 4,000 out of the park budget and make do this $56,000 improvement with very little county investment.
I haven't seen, that, but I think that's pretty accurate. I think it was a very small amount from the county and the little Emerson Park. Taking that, but Emerson, I was taking 90%. But
I don't understand if we didn't. That's fine. You have conversations I had with, unscripted, planning the leader as well, should I say this? Engaging on this. Any other system?
This says in the resolution that it's a replacement of the log cabin. I was told that there may not be a replacement in repair.
I thought they were putting up a whole new structure, but that wasn't locked in. But again, I can see. Mr. Patrick?
I believe it is just that we're fixing up what can be fixed. It's not a replacement.
It's not a replacement, it's a repair. I thought they were moving. Well, I was told by the parks director, they were trying to, that they were, we were, they were going to move it. And put it
Yeah,
in
I
the
don't know.
collection.
I don't know.
Yeah, yes.
I understand what is, person what's wrong.
Here. No, this resolution has to rate until next month's.
Parks remember the presentation. You got a motion, I'm gonna second the table, the motion table. Any discussion on table? I'll support the table and there's some clarity on what the Slater seems so. All in favor, any discussion, all in favor of the motion table?
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor? Yeah.
PL4, authorization to enter into contract with W2O for preventative maintenance of sewer lift stations within Emerson Park. Amend resolution 16325.
Second, Mr. Fletcher, discussion. All in favor of PL4? Any opposed? Public Works, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Public Work has 4 resolutions. Number 4 was tabled. PW 1, 2, and 3 are like the bundle. All of them are to fill positions. Heavy motor operator position, medium operator position, and a senior storage clerk. Again, we went through both committees, and I would look for motion to bundle all 3.
Looking for a block function, the bundle PW1 through 3. Discussion.
Until these particular positions, just like the others. I guess until there's on the tentative budget. We should be doing until.
Second that.
First and second, any discussion on table? I support the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? PW4. I'm sorry, I skipped.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. JPS has a total of 12 resolutions, all of them through both committees. We'll start with JP1. Offer up JP1, authorizing the chairperson of the Cayuga County Legislature and the Cayuga County 911 Administrator to apply for the SFY 2024, SFY 2026 Emergency Services IT Network, ESI net ready instrument.
Motion second. Motion.
I'll second.
Second, discussion on JP. No further discussion on favor of JP1.
Aye.
Opposed.
JP2, authorizing the transfer of funds in the assigned council program.
So, as you know, you don't always know the now policies, the technical services. And then we're over the budget, it's required 2/3 vote, to override that, and we increase it.
I'll second.
Second, discussion.
Just a discussion point, initially it was stated that this budget required more money, a movement of money because of the decision last year that was proven to be accurate. nothing changed in the budget request from last year.
Okay. And, what, you know, so. We need a 2/3 vote on this, we're gonna roll call vote.
Anyone should have their own.
Well, is anybody gonna?
Unless,
All right, so all in favor? Any opposed? All right, 36.
That's,
All right.
All right, I want to offer the JP three, JP 10, and JP 11 is bundle. They are all dealing with contracts. And JP three, authorizing the chair of the PUA legislature to sign contract with Thompson and Reuters for Westlaw services. JP 10, authorize the chair of the legislature and the sheriff of Cuyahoga County to renew an agreement with Webster Poll to provide ongoing implementation and management of law enforcement policies and procedures for the Road Patrol Division of the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office, as well as provide annual policy updates, training, and accreditation tracking and management services related to said policy and procedures. And JP 11, authorizing the chair of the legislature to lease office space for office of the signing council.
Real bundle of 3,
2, 3, 10, 1.
second.
First and second, discussion on 3, 10, 11. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
JP 4, authorizing the chair of the legislature to execute and approve the 25-26 Roundabout Pilot Simulation Initiative. Also known as GIVE grant funding plan awarded to the Cuyahoga County District Attorney's Office in the amount of $82,197.
First and second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JP 5, authorizing the Cuyahoga County Sheriff to purchase 4 mobile radios to replace radios in 4 marked patrol cars that have reached the end of their useful life.
That's second. Mr. Batchel. Discussion on JP 5. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? JP 6.
Offer up JP 6, authorize the sheriff to create, fill up to 10 deputy sheriff in the custody unit, part-time positions in the Cuyahoga County Jail. And I'd like to add that these positions are an attempt to address and reduce the burden of the overtime that is placed in the current situation of employees of the jail.
Get first and second.
who is that?
I'll second.
So this was a conversation that took place over the course of the year. We spoke to the sheriff, we asked him about ways to reduce the overtime cost of jail. And inquired about the potential of using part-time deputies in jail and help relieve the overtime cost. He was very open to that conversation. This is also. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to stress, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I've been voting no all along on positions because I'm very adamant that we haven't seen or talked about a budget at all yet. But it's also something that's interesting that counties are required to have a jail, but they're not required to have road patrol. And for the reason that we are required to have a jail, and I'm gonna vote for these positions. Not that we couldn't do something different, but we are required to have a jail and we don't have a choice, so we have to do this at this time. Thank you.
Yeah. All in favor of JP 6?
Aye.
Any opposed?
With no objection, I guess I'll offer up JP 7, 8, 9 as a bundle. These are all positions within the custody division. They're addressing the large shortage of staff that is currently in the jail.
Move it.
Second.
I'd like to make a motion to table this.
Right.
Us JP 7, 8, and 9 until next week.
Got a motion to table 7, 8, and 9. Second. Okay, you have a second. Do I have a second to You table and vote. Awesome. Wait a second for that. Discussion on 7, 8,
I just want to point out that my motion table is to try to get a bigger picture of what's affecting the budget. I certainly think that we have a lot to consider in a short period of time and we're ahead of us, so I just wanted to get out in front of this. I will be supporting these positions in this moment. However, you need to understand that's my thought process moving forward.
we said, I believe it's up to 11 vacancies now, 37 most of the year, and from Bill, even passing this today, most of these positions will be filled for us. Any other discussion? Yes.
I will be supporting these resolutions today. And I would just like to mention that those that we tabled from Health and Human Services, also all positions that are used in the execution of mandated services.
Without any further discussion, all in favor of the bundle of 17. Aye. Any opposed? Yes.
Lastly, JP 12, authorizing the Cayuga County Legislature and Cayuga County Sheriff to revise the contract with the Moravia School District, provide one additional full-time special patrol officer employed by the Sheriff's Office of the MSD to provide school resource officer services and to fill one additional special patrol officer position for said purpose. This position was requested by Moravia School District and it was fully funded, salary and range from the Moravia School District and does not create any local share out of the county.
Chairman, I move 12.
All right, second. Any discussion on 12? All in favor of JP 12?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Winston. Combine the ledge resolutions. Ledge 1 is fixing the day and notice to the public hearing, adopting local law for the year 2025. The local law established a manual drug abuser registry prohibiting animal ownership by animal abuse offenders within Cayuga County. Can I get a first and a second for fixing the public hearing date? You know, first, you have a second. Any discussion on ledge 1? All in favor of ledge 1?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ledge 2, resolution to adopt local law for the year 2025, a local law to amend the restate local law number 3 for year 1994 as periodically amended. This is the bed tax resolution. This is just to change the language for the STRs. There's no other changes incorporated into it.
Where did I have you close the whole hearing?
Oh, that's correct. I'm going to close the public hearing. Public hearing for a local law imposing a tax on the occupancy of hotel rooms or short-term rentals pursuant to chapter 533 of the laws of 1994 of the state of New York is closed. Can I get a first and a second to put this on the table? Discussion. Without further discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? None was moved. Ledge 3 authorizes the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature and the director of Youth Bureau to accept funding from the New York State Education Department to advance New York State's 250th commemoration missions. Can I get a first and second put on the table? Okay. Can I have a second? All right. Any discussion on ledge 3? No discussion on ledge 3. All in favor? Any opposed? Ledge 4 authorizing appointments to the various boards and agencies. Can I get a first and second? Discussion.
I'd like to point out that I would be a no on these, and it's not specifically related to anyone being appointed. It's just that we have not taken the time to examine how we accurately appoint to vacancies on boards and agencies with reducing redundancy, and also whether or not time limits, also to implement whether there's people who are related to board members or employees of the board. So none of that has been addressed, and until that's addressed, I will know on what.
Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Moga.
Also, looking back at the last page, is that all the appointments? This is various, I want to make sure that's everybody.
That's everybody listening today.
Love it, and I'll just, like, anything, not anything, little bit, we haven't done our study to figure out. If there's any, implications because the people are in courts and. I have nothing personally, I don't recognize anything, but until we do that, I'm probably gonna say no on the court. But I do support all these people individually, and I know them very well, and I think they'll be an asset to the board, but until we do our due process,
Mr. Mateo.
I would like to separate the ethics board. I'd like that appointment to go forward and have somebody actually look at some of this stuff that we say are conflicts of interest. So at this point, I'd like to separate ethics board.
All right, we'll separate it from the board. Mr. Heisel is a pastor from Fairhaven. He does not serve on any boards at this time. This is his first time serving in any government capacity. So let's do this. Any other separations? All right, can I get a first and a second for the ethics board? Any discussion on the ethics board?
This the gentleman that you said in certain.
Yep, this is Stephen Heisel. So if you're not familiar, and I learned this because I wasn't familiar, the ethics board is made up, the Republicans get to choose, the Democrats get to choose, and there was a chair appointment. This was the chair appointment.
John, could you read the other appointments?
Yep, the other appointments are Fire Advisory Board, Andrew Rocco from Westlake Road in Alvin, Cayuga Cortland Workforce Development Board, Dan Welch is a reappointment, Joe Clare is a reappointment, and William Andre is a reappointment. And I know Mr. Andre and Mr. Welch are very active members of that board.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna support the reappointments because, they got me with some work. But I'm just gonna. It's like it's supporting everything.
All right, we'll go through them individually. How's that going? All right, so right now I'm gonna,
The term started October 1st, so it just kind of continues.
they discontinued their.
There's no disruption.
They're currently on the board, correct? Any other discussion on this? Without further discussion, the ethics board, all in favor? Make a motion and a second for the fire advisory board. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Cayuga Cortland Workforce Development Board. Can I get a motion and a second? All in favor? Discussion, I'm sorry. Without further discussion, all in favor? So. Oh, one opposition, I'm sorry. Or two. All right, Ledge 5. Amended and restated resolution in order directing the establishment of county sewer district number 3. Can I get a first and a second to put this on the table for discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to table this until we get more information coming in and give the opportunity to get more information out. We're waiting on the information we'll grant.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion on the table. My understanding is that we need to establish the sewer district to have the potential to obtain the grant money. Is this gonna, to me, that sounds like tabling will interfere with that process. No.
I believe it's the best interest of everybody, neighborhoods. Need to be studied. Quite a few residents have contacted me and expressed their opposition to it, so we need to do some more education.
And I agree with that, Mr. Petcher, the fact that we do education, listen to our constituents. The feedback is the reason we changed it from a permissive referendum to a mandatory referendum.
So the local, the resolution today to establish a local law for the district would be a mandatory referendum for the first week of February if this was to pass, and it would not be a permissive referendum. And that is to allow the public to have their opportunity to have the vote. And that is based on, again, spoke earlier to the students about, constituents reaching out and having those conversations. So, our community also here, changing of these as well. But we do have a motion, Mr. Strong.
I'd like, I don't know, Mr. Shay's motion. We maybe for the next whole life meeting. That would be mine.
I was gonna guess.
Table it for 1 month.
That would be mine. Okay.
Any other?
So the resolution was adopted in August. We know we've got some folks. Okay, so the resolution was first passed in August this year. So some bumps on that. We've had some feedback, there's some discussion this afternoon. There's a grant application that is dependent on the county having passed this resolution in August. With its defects, my recommendation would be to introduce the resolution tonight, this afternoon, first and second, vote it up or down. I'm sorry. Then table it, get it on the agenda, so it at least keeps the grant application secure. As I sit here, I don't know if the defects in the resolution would impact on the grant application that's out there. I would just put that as a caution. So again, my thought would be to have the body introduce the resolution and then table it, as opposed to tabling the whole thing. I would like to see it on the agenda, so at least if there's any questions from the grant application, that they would see as a resolution and introduce and table.
You're not, what you said, introduce it and vote it up or down and then take. That's not what you meant.
That's not what I meant. I meant
Okay.
to introduce it, then bring a motion to table.
Okay.
I know I'm
But
being
get it
very,
on record as presented.
yes, I know I'm being very, very particular, but I just want to make sure that it doesn't impact negatively on the outstanding grant. Thank you for the correction.
And the end result would still be it's tabled.
The end result is it's still
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Presented, get a first and second. Next.
I need that motion to be filed.
Right, so introduce it then.
So,
I'll make a motion for the ledge 5.
you withdraw your motion.
Absolutely.
Okay, so he withdraws his motion, so
Draw my second.
you withdraw your second, so now your resolution continues.
I'll move it to put H8 or ledge 5 on the table.
Maybe the second for discussion. We have a second for discussion. Mr. Jay? Would you like to make a motion to the table now? All right, Mr. Strong, seconds it. All right. Any other further discussion on motion table?
Yes.
All right. Any other discussion on the table? All in favor of tabling till next month's meeting? Any opposed?
Like to thank council's advice on this clarification, and I know I'm being particular, but thank you, appreciate it, much appreciated.
I'd like a motion to bring the resolution to adopt local law to override the tax cap off the table, if I may. Need a first and a second to bring it off the table. First, and we have a second discussion, Mr. Shaw.
Like call for short comments.
Republicans are calling for a caucus.
Thank you.
Now we'll go back into session. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Legislators to make their way back to the table, please. We are back in session for Leg 6. Resolution to adopt local law number 26 to override the tax limit. We have a first and a second. Any discussion at this time? Any comments? We've taken first and second, bring it off the table. Any discussion about bringing it off the table? All in favor of bringing it off the table? Can I get a motion in a second to bring it forward? Anyone opposed? Just to take it off the table.
That's not.
It's not the.
Yes, there's interest to complete a table.
Well, that's a discussion we have, Mr. Strong.
Karen, I'd like to make a motion to leave this resolution on the table to November 5th. Some more information on the should that we discussed earlier today.
So
I feel there's a lot of information on the budget. Yeah. I'd like to see this go until November 15th. At that time, we put it back on the table.
So you're asking me to present a budget within line tax cap, is that my understanding? Because that's the decision that you're forcing me to make, correct? At the end of the day. November 5th, I present a budget, and on November 5th, I have to present a budget that's either over or in line with the tax cap. I'm asking this board to allow me to present a budget that's over the tax cap. There's no secrets about that.
And we have the discussion about tax cap prior to the budget. And that's my intent.
We can have
I do think, we gotta, in any scenario, we're gonna go over the tax rate. And we already talked about the concern of drawing up funding. We really got in top of this, I to make a decision. Then we can be progressive in this conversation. We're not gonna have a conversation on the fifth, everything's tabled, then we go to bed, we need to make a decision. And we know, there's no scenario, nobody, we sat through a lot of budget hearings from every department. And no legislator, other than Jonathan, has proposed a budget that keeps us within the tax. But nobody else has one to come forward with that, we have to roll it. The same, are we supposed to? Well, let me ask you this, why not hold on it now? I mean, what are you waiting for the fifth for? Nothing's gonna happen for the fifth.
So we have a $9.9 million. That's what the actual number is. I know 9.5 has been the one that's been distributed or stated, but it's actually $9.9 million, and that's with the 2.86. We use as an example for the tax cap over. Not overriding the tax cap would mean an additional, to meet our fund balance goals, an additional over $2 million in additional cuts. And if I have to present a budget that does not override the tax cap, I will do that. But that'll mean massive cuts to public safety and non-mandated services, including also aging and other services that we provide to our county. I've already gone through the budget in 2 rounds, I'm up to the 3rd. So far, and I didn't want to say this publicly, but so far we've cut $4 million on proposed tentative of what the department heads have requested. So we are putting work. At the end of the day, not overriding the tax cap would be detrimental to fiscal responsibility, our fiscal responsibility in this county. Drescher and Malecki, our auditors, have advised us to stop using the fund balance. The state comptroller's office has advised us that continued use of fund balance will continue to put us at financial and economic stress. So if this is the board, and this board wants to say, hey, we're not going to support overriding the tax cap, bring a budget in at 2.8%, I'm ready to do that. I guess that's what I'm asking today, because I have to present you a budget on November 5th that either is exceeding the tax cap or not exceeding the tax cap. I've asked the county attorney if I could bring one budget forward to show you scenarios, and the statute states a budget, and I've been informed that means one budget. So it's up to this board to dictate, today, which direction we prefer to go.
Technically, the motion on the floor. And then there's not an extra we have. We do need a second to the table.
Do I have a second to take?
I paid, well, I made the motion, somebody else.
No second to take. All right. You got a second to take. All right, so we have a second to take. Mr. Strong.
Karen, I understand where you're looking. And the only thing I'm asking is that I'm looking to have discussion about the position, we can talk about the older day. At that point, could we, I'm asking about, could we vote on the tax cap before?
If I present, well, first of all, there's a lot of work going into this. Between the presentation and the comment on the 5th and have this vote prior to, and I expect me to change basically the results are not going to be conducive. I've spoken to Mr. Westfall about this, and if I bring you a budget that's over the tax cap and we've not passed the tax cap override, those funds get put off to the side. We cannot use those. And then whatever those funds are, that's off to the side, actually get used for the next year to offset the revenues for the next year for the tax cap, it's not to get additional dollars. It's almost punitive in many ways.
I'd like to just to make sure I'm understanding these correctly. And I know there is disdain for exceeding the tax cap. I do get that. It's going to be an unpopular vote, but I don't know any way around. But Mark, if your concern is, and legitimately, you want to have an idea about what the presentation looks like and what the level of when you have questions. I don't know how you almost have to see the tentative budget before. If we just open the meeting on November 5th, prior to the release of the tentative budget, you don't have much more information than you do right now. Unless, that's what I'm trying to understand, but once the tentative budget gets released, I guess, and I don't know how you're gonna release the tentative budget if it doesn't go through the tax cap. I don't think you can do. The Grim Reaper could come up out of that budget, right? That's painful. But there's an opportunity, isn't there, the legislature, when the tentative budget is released, to say, look, the tax levy is too high, let's cut more things.
Well, there are a couple, a couple of options, and want to make sure I address them all. So the tentative budget is going to be released on November 5th. The next step is for Ways and Means Committee to take a look at that budget, have whatever hearings it needs to have to decide whether they want to commit that budget or not in any budget. And then that document, called a tentative estimate, is a document to get presented to the public for a public hearing. And then that's voted up or down, and then there's some things that happen after that. If it's published, the public hearing on it, and then the legislature again votes, and then voted up or down, and amendments can be made throughout the process, both in the ways we need system, both that tentative as an, but we don't, we can't talk. So the tax map is going to force the chair as the budget officer to decide whether to come in at the 2.8% or not. Having knowledge about whether he can exceed the cap helps him develop a budget, either over that number or below that. So that, go ahead.
Ways and Means though has 2 or 3 meetings where just the Ways and Means Committee makes some changes to the tentative budget. The Ways and Means Committee doesn't have the authority. We're just giving recommendations to the legislature after our vote. Is that correct?
That's correct. They're making recommendations and changes, and then that goes back to the legislature to vote up or down. If the budget is stuck at the cap, I'm not sure what Ways and Means can do it yet. The Ways and Means would need the legislature to override the cap if we're going to go above that number. That gets back to what Jonathan, the chairman, was just saying. If the budget is over the cap, that amount of money, let's assume it's $2 million, it's taken out, it's doing the budget adopted, it's taken out, set aside, and used for the 27 budget. So that leaves you in a dilemma, right? You don't have the $2 million. What programs and services are you going to have up through the year?
Both happens and it's legal. Then the public hearing has to be.
What are you talking about?
If the legislature votes to not seek the tax, the only reason we have public hearings, it got tabled, it's back off the table.
Correct.
If in any way the vote defeats overriding with the tax cap, we start from scratch again.
You either don't exceed the tax cap or you have to start from scratch.
Another
There were
public
2 meetings because it's a local law. So we'd have to come back to that.
Somebody else? Go ahead.
Right, microphone go. I just think that we'll try to say this as gently as I can. We're all in this together. And putting all the work on Jonathan as we sit through these things to say on the 5th, we'll decide that. You know that we have to do this. Why do we keep postponing another conversation? They're tough to make. They are tough. And guess what? We're not going to be popular with these decisions. And people are going to talk about it. The citizens are going to report this conversation. But at the end of the day, we got put in this position to make these tough decisions. So when there's a tough decision, we just want to postpone it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I have no idea what we're talking about right now. When we already been sitting here after one special meeting, my sugar level's dropping here as we sit around with another meeting, just to not do anything, just kick the can down the road again. It's enough. I mean, I'm burned out from hearing this. What are we doing? You know, wait till the 5th or wait till the 5th? What happens then? We're going to be forced to make a bad decision because at the point he will not have any flexibility. So I'm going to pick.
Mr. Strong. I guess I'm curious as to what do you hope for doing between now and making the decision on overriding tax yet? Like, you're feeling like you need information. Do you, I mean, like outside of the budget presentation, do you need this information? I just would like to figure out.
There are positions that are not filled. They are funded. I'd like to know the status of where they are for each individual. We have positions that we are talking about cutting. Some is They lose their job. We have no idea where those positions are. I mean, yeah, they said, and if nothing's firm. I haven't seen his budget, anybody attended this day, seen his budget, other than him. So, and I'm not picking on the chairman. What I'm saying is, I don't know what positions are going to be cut or don't, not. My intent was to have a discussion prior to his release of the budget. We can, if we wanna have the vote there, have the vote, it'll be where it will be. But those are my issues, because you're forcing us to make a decision on positions and cuts. We don't even know where they're at. We know there are cuts. We have a vague idea. We don't know where they're here.
Is it possible then to have some sort of a review of your ideas? That's okay, I don't know. I think people. Oh, it's a basically reality.
Obviously, we're seasoned legislators. Most of my colleagues around the table. And what happens is a budget is presented to us on a delivered date. This idea that we're going to get pieces and little bits and I'll give you a clue about is not process. The process that happens is we get the budget and then we have amendment discussions. We don't have to accept that budget, we have amendment discussions. And those amendment discussions could include what level of taxes or not, what level of stripping of positions or not. But the budget has to come to us for that process to move forward. If it's happened in any other way and not any other year, then somehow I was on another planet when that happened.
I think, who's making positions and not doing this. There are others.
Like, I think no point saying this, but what I was trying to say was is there are vacant positions that will not be filled. There are people who not have a job in January. And if we don't override the tax cap, it's gonna be a whole lot more and by multiple times. And my message has been the same since January, is that we cannot continue to rely on fund balance, and we have to fix the fund balance issue. And my concern has been about fund balance. And truthfully, yeah, I have targets. And we need to stop. We need to put ourselves in a position to stop drawing on our fund balance and using that as a subsidy for spending sprees and cutting of taxes. Now, I agree. I hate taxes. I think we all hate taxes. And I agree that we cannot overtax people, and we have to have responsible, fiscally responsible government. But a lot of our costs, and we see this all year long and across the board, is our hands are tied as a legislative body at times because of state mandates. And we continually see the state continuing to give us mandates. We administer state programs. I bet many people in the room right now don't know that $14.1 million of Cayuga County taxpayer money goes to Medicaid. You know, that's a big number. Most states across the country, counties don't pay. This is something New York puts on our shoulders. You know, we administer these programs. We administer SNAP. We administer HEAP. We have programs that we're required to administer. You know, we talked about jail costs as well. We have mandated costs, both inside and outside of public safety. And those mandated costs are eating up our budget, in addition to the other pressures of insurance and inflation, and then salaries and wages. And for us to really make an impact on our budget, the biggest impact on our budget for cuts is honestly through salary and fringe, because we don't have a lot of room for anything else. And if we're not gonna have massive layoffs, the only way to avoid that is override the tax cap. But again, I've said this from day one since I ran for office, and I said this as a legislator, I said this as chair, is that I do not believe we can cut our way out of this and we can tax our economy. We have to grow our economy, and that takes time. But in the meantime, we have to cut and we have to raise revenue. I already said.
All right, so somebody else. has to-
Go ahead. I have a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, we can learn. No, I just wanna make sure I'm not oversimplifying it, but the question that we have right now is the really tough decisions come after November 5th. This is, if we exceed the tax gap, we have more options than we do, than if we don't, right? So that's what we have to decide right now.
And you guys can breathe, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Put stuff in, you take more out. Whatever you want. That's fine.
Discussion about that.
All question on the table, table. All the question. Roll call vote, please. Thank you.
This is the table.
This is the table.
Then if you don't table, you go back.
Okay, this is to table the resolution. Ben Vitale. Tom Winslow. Robert Shea.
Yeah.
Aileen McNabb Coleman.
Yeah.
Hans Petcher. Mark Strong.
Yeah.
Heidi Nightingale. Elaine Daly. Amy Sargent.
No.
Brian Muldrow. Jonathan Anna.
I apologize, public, and department heads, for the next contending budget, the answer is no.
It is passed. It is tabled.
I get a first and second to adjourn.
Table that.
Anyone else, first and second to adjourn? All in favor? Thank you.
Forget their picture. Yeah.
I gotta go to the conference. All right, I gotta go.
Some more lively.